This is a social Aloe Ministries ministry. We're at 2 minutes. Usually I can do these things in 1 minute, but I need some time with this one. And this message about being an accuser of the brethren, and not about the devil, but possibly you. I recently saw a Christian minister say something, and it's not the first time I've heard something like that, and I've actually spoken out about it before. I'm going to do it again. We have to be careful that we do not become accusers of the brethren. Accusers of the brethren. In Acts 18, starting verse 24, it reads, "Now a Jew named Apollos, an Alexandrian by birth, an eloquent man, came to Ephesus, and he was mighty in the scriptures. This man had been instructed in the way of the Lord, and being fervent in spirit, he was speaking and teaching accurately the things concerning Jesus, being acquainted only with the baptism of John. And he began to speak out boldly in the synagogue. But when Priscilla and Aquila heard him, they took him aside and explained to him the way of God more accurately." He was eloquent and a mighty man in scriptures. Yet there were things he could learn from Priscilla and Aquila, and he did. And that kind of humility helps. There's an ongoing debate in Christianity regarding if a Christian can have a demon. And as a part of justifying that dogma, or the dogma that a Christian cannot have a demon, if a person is wrestling with demonic entities, to include dwelling within, some people will justify themselves by saying that person is not a Christian and that person is not saved, rather than possibly saying, could it be that a Christian could have a demon, and that person is enduring something that maybe he or she should be glad that he or she's not having to deal with? Because if you as a Christian, when you're dealing with certain things, and people are going to tell you that you are not saved if that is the case. And full disclosure, I had something happen in my life, and a minister said those words to me. And by God's grace, I didn't fall for it. By thinking because I was going through something like that I wasn't saved. Because the person said, you should examine yourself to see if you're in the faith. The thing is, in Luke 13, Jesus saw the woman who had been bound by a spirit of infirmity for 18 years. When he delivered of the spirit, the Pharisees had something to say about it. And the Lord said that she had been a daughter of Abraham, who Satan had bound for 18 years. So even though she had been demonically bound, she was still a daughter of Abraham. Is it possible for a child of God to experience something like that? In 2 Corinthians 12, the Apostle Paul spoke about a messenger of Satan, one sent to torment him. Coming from the Greek word messenger, angelos, which is also representative of an angel, a messenger of Satan, sent to torment him, to buffet him, to keep him humble. Does that mean the Apostle Paul was not saved? The story of Lazarus and the rich man. Lazarus lived a tormented life. The rich man seemed he was on easy street, as if the Lord had blessed everything off his hands. But it's the rich man who ended up in hell, and Lazarus who ended up in Abraham's bosom, in paradise. So we have to be careful that we, even though mighty like Apollos, eloquent and well trained, that we are not so dogmatic by believing that we know everything and we have exhausted all the possibilities, and that there are things out there that we do not know. Apollos became better because he learned from Priscilla and Aquila. And we, as brothers and sisters in Christ, need to start learning from each other. Because some people have been allowed to go through some things that other Christians would walk away from the Lord for. In John 6, many people walked away from Jesus and didn't follow him anymore, simply because he taught a hard lesson that they couldn't tolerate. So we have to be careful that we do not become accusers of the brethren because of a struggle the Lord is allowing one of his children to go through for his glory. Because Job's friends, when they stayed with him in silence after 2 satanic attacks that God himself allowed, they became adversaries of Job and God himself by blaming Job of unrighteousness, when the Bible lets us know that God allowed Job to get tested twice because of his righteousness, because he maintained his integrity. So we have to be careful in all things that we do not become accusers of the brethren, in part because we are so hardened in our belief that we will not humble ourselves to learn from each other. God bless you, and Jesus Christ is Lord.